Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizano, and this is another episode of the world famous, the University Love, the best podcast in 1, 2, 3 galaxies. But, ladies and gentlemen, we just call this show Online Marketing Moves. I'm already annoyed, ladies and gentlemen. But today, we are coming to you live. We are coming to you live. Lord have mercy. Ladies and gents. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what. And I'm not BSing with you right now. Every time, ladies and gentlemen, that I record at night, there's always some bleepity bleep noise or some kind of BS going on around me. And I'm like, is this going to affect the podcast? Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. When you start to get real professional about the things that you want to do, I joke with you sometimes, and we joke around on this podcast, but I take this podcast very seriously. This is my baby. This is my second child. Well, this technically would be my first child because my daughter was just born in 2021. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, I take this very seriously, and when I can hear stuff now that I didn't hear before. Like I hear like a noise in the background that's distracting me. I hear people walking around that's distracting, and I'm like, well, it's not distracting me, but it doesn't help with the podcast. And one thing that in 2023 that I know that I must make clear and concise is the sound of the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're going to talk about today because this is very important. You start off, don't get me wrong, it's great to just get started. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. But if you want to magnify, if you want to double, triple, if you want to get down the road faster than I ever would, than I ever could, you have to clean up the details. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, the more you clean up the details, the better off you will be. If you want to make a successful podcast, a successful YouTube channel, you have to make it sound concise. And I know sometimes, I remember I recorded one episode when my mother used to listen. I recorded an episode and I was in the dining room. And so I thought, okay, this is a good place. It was Thanksgiving weekend. My wife, she was flipping out because the stove wasn't working. I'll never forget this. She was flipping out because the stove wasn't working. And I'm sitting in the dining room. And she was like, so you just going to sit over there and record? And I said, the kitchen ain't working. We got to go out to get something to eat. So why not? And that's what my wife said. This joker is serious about this. And I remember that. And God, another noise. See? This is aggravating. But I was in the dining room and I recorded the episode. And my mom called me Monday. And she said, what was up with that recording the other day? And I said, what do you mean? She said, sounded like you was in a wind tunnel. Couldn't hear nothing. And I said, huh? And I went back and listened to it, and it was bad. It didn't sound good, and I thought, come on, man. You can have the best message in the world, but if people can't understand you, if they hear noises, all this bells and whistles, in the podcast, they might give you a chance. On video, they ain't going to give you a chance. So whenever you record stuff, you write stuff, you want to have concise, crisp, clear sound. You want to be able to hear yourself. You want to be able to, make sure that it is great sounding. You want to avoid some of the stuff that I used to do and I still do. Sometimes, like, this is one of the things that annoy me the most. But it always happens. Anytime I try to record at night, there's always some aggravating thing going on. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you just want to make sure, because, listen, it is good to write, It is good to record. It is good to shoot videos, but you want things to be clean, crisp. You want thumbnails to be good. You want headlines to be good. You want titles to be good. You want your emails to be good. You want things to be good. And how do you get better at this stuff? You practice. You practice. You practice. If you don't want to pay anybody to do your thumbnails, you can do your thumbnails yourself. I used to do thumbnails on YouTube. I would go to Canva. I would sit there. Listen. You and I both know this. This is something that's very important. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to tell you this. It is cool. It is a great feeling when you're doing all this stuff yourself, you know. It is wonderful. It's beautiful because you're out here. Yeah, you're recording content. You're getting affiliate links. You're doing this. You're doing that. It's great. But the more you can put a team together, the more you can get people to do this stuff, pass this stuff off, pass that stuff off, the better off you will be. Trust me, you believe you me. I love recording. I record. Obviously, I don't edit nothing. I need to learn how to edit. I need to learn how to make the sound crisp. Maybe I need a producer. And I think that's about it. But you want to start learning different stuff. And then eventually you get enough people. They'll set it up for you. You just hit record, you say, all right, and I'm gone. That's it. You know? Or if you want to learn how to edit for people, and this is another thing. This is why, listen. I was talking about this with my wife the other day. You don't have to be the star of the show to make money. If you don't want to be the one recording the podcast, learn how to produce podcasts. Because everybody and their mother wants a podcast. So if you learn how to produce podcasts, you can sit back there, you can download people's podcasts, upload them, do this, do that, and get paid. If you want to shoot videos behind the camera, if you don't want to be out in the camera, if you want to be the one shooting videos, editing videos, uploading videos, you can do that. There's a vast amount of things that you can do to make money when it comes to all of this. I was talking to my wife the other day. My wife, because my wife likes to watch doctor shows, and my wife, she went to college and she graduated, and she was telling me this story about how she was in culinary school and she hated it. She hated working in the kitchen, and she thought I should have been a doctor. And then she thought, heart surgeon, I don't want to do that. And then because she told me, she said, I only thought about 2 doctors, you know. They didn't tell me how many. I'm like, yeah, because you got pediatricians, you got podiatrists, you got, people that do, radiation treatments only. They just, put the radiation thing on your chest or whatever. They have all kinds of different avenues when it comes to doctors, nurses that you can do. You don't necessarily have to cut people wide open and take out the heart and put the heart back in. You don't have to do that. There's other things to being a doctor. And it's the same as any profession, You don't have to, if you want to be a journalist, you don't have to necessarily go try to work for CBS. You can maybe work for the Associated Press. You can work for this one, that one. The tentacles, ladies and gentlemen. Tentacles. You can always go do this, go do that, go do this, go do that. That's the beauty about life. And the more you figure that out, the better off you will be. So learn a skill, drive that thing home, and make that your base, Me, I understand podcasting now. I understand it. I know how it works. I know how to get. Listen, I know how to turn nothing into something, okay? Because you just have to, and you have to. One thing that we have to learn. One thing that I had to learn that you might have to learn. You might already have this trait. You might already have this skill set. Is self-promotion. Because and a lot of stuff that we all do stem from childhood. I was always told, don't brag on yourself. Don't brag on yourself. Don't brag on yourself, And so when I first started recording, I said, oh man, I can't brag on myself. I don't want to tell people, hey, I got a podcast. But we live in a world now where, and anywhere, anytime, doesn't matter. You have to learn how to self-promote. Self-promotion is something that you have to do. And then eventually, you do enough self-promotion, you get your name out there, you won't have to promote yourself for very long, you know? And so when you learn how to self-promote, you learn how to market yourself, the better off you will be. And it took me a little bit, but I learned, how to do this, how to do that, how to market, where to market to, what to do, how to do it, and we're getting better. But you want to learn how to self-promote. Because the more you can promote yourself in the beginning, the more you want to promote yourself at the end. You don't want to be the person 20 years from now telling everybody, "Hey, yeah, I still got a podcast. No, you want to have people, fans, customers. You want to have all that carrying the water for you eventually. All right. And so just remember, learn some skills, because when you start off, it's a one-man army, but if you can learn some skills, you can charge people, make some money. That's a good way to make money, for you to build your website, for you to build whatever, for you to get your publication started, for you to get your monthly whatever started. I highly recommend that you find something that you can charge, get a subscription base for every month, so you can have recurring money. The faster you start making some money with your business, the more you can invest in your business, the more you can make it grow. The more you can spend on advertising, all that good stuff, all right? Because the more you can get down the more you can start making some money, the better off you will be. And I highly suggest the money you make in the beginning, just pour it back into the business. If you get $1,000, put the $1,000 back in the business. If you get $2,000, put the $2,000 back in the business. Come on, invest. The more you invest in yourself, the better off you will be. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is it for the podcast today. We will be back tomorrow with an all-new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Rizzano. Thank you for listening. And as always, everybody, peace.